Well, when I retired, I started working for ESPN, did a couple shows for them, and worked for the Spurs in TV and the Suns in TV. Then did some couple years of radio, and then I started scouting for the Suns, and then I was director of player personnel in Phoenix, and then I was assistant general manager. So worked with some really talented people there, learned a lot about the business side of basketball, and running the draft, being involved in the draft, scouting, selecting players, just a lot of the business parts of basketball that, I was just very fortunate, working, in Phoenix with, David Griffin and Brian Colangelo and guys that have been very successful, Steve Kerr, and just guys that, we had a lot of fun doing it, but knowledgeable people, but they have a lot of talented people in Phoenix when I was there, and, it made your job fun, but also you continue to learn.
So from there, what made head coaching the right move?
I'm just competitive. I had done a lot of other things like we had talked about in terms of the front office thing. I just had some opportunities when I retired to get into coaching. Wasn't ready at that point in my life, and but there was always something I felt like I needed to do, and it was something that I just wanted to pursue. And I love the competition. I love to see players develop. I love to give back to the game. You're trying to manage a lot of different things as a head coach, but I enjoy that. And, sitting on the sidelines is one thing, and questioning things and is one thing. But when you're in it and you have to make those decisions and you have to do all of the work and everything, it's a totally different dynamic. So I wanted to put myself in that situation, and I've been very fortunate, a couple years in Chicago and now here in Los Angeles. So, just the process continues, and I enjoy the challenge of trying to not only improve individually as a coach, but collectively with my group of assistant coaches, with everything we have to do here with the Clippers organization, and most importantly, obviously, with the group of players we have.
How did you come to define your personal coaching philosophy?
Just a little bit from what I believe in, from different coaches that I've had along the line that we've talked about. But then you have to have your core values of what you really believe in and how you think the game should be played, and that doesn't change much no matter what the complexion of your team is. Even sometimes when your team doesn't change personnel-wise a lot, maybe certain players' roles change a little bit. So you have to be able to adjust at times, but you also have to, I think, have your core values and your foundation, what you feel is not negotiable really, in terms of what you want to do defensively or offensively, at that matter, for the whole game. So I think the preparation and organization that goes into it is something that is very time-consuming, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. And then seeing the result be successful, and seeing people enjoy their careers and people improve and put players in a position of strength and work on their weaknesses is something that I enjoy the process.
It seems that you're kind of notorious for gathering a lot of information, and you know what to do with that. How do you handle all the information that you gather about all this stuff?
Well, you just you pick the things that strike you the strongest, and you're not always able to do everything you want to do, obviously. So pick the things that you feel fit and help the team the most, and what areas we need to really address at a certain time, whether it's preseason, regular season, or throughout the season, or even in the summertime in terms of development. So it's a never-ending process, but you're trying to just put your team in an area of growth and continually improve throughout the season. And I've been fortunate. I have great assistant coaches, great staff, hardworking. We have a great facility. Play at Staples Center, world-class city. Got Clipper Nation. You have everything involved here. So there's a lot of positive momentum, a lot of positive energy, and I think that really helps the players in terms of looking at the big picture of things at times.
Now you talk about your assistant coaching staff. When you're going into that process of deciding who you're going to hire for your staff, what do you look at? What are you looking for in these guys?
Well, there has to be some type, I think, comfort level with that person, and then coaches are going to bring different things to the table. So I knew most of my staff before I hired them, but what do they stand for? What are their philosophies? How our personalities going to get along? You don't want yes men. You want guys that actually have opinions and have a philosophy about the game, and they're not always probably going to line up with yours at times, but it gives you another chance to look at things maybe and learn and look at things at a different level. So, I've been very fortunate. I've got very experienced staff, and they're hardworking, and you see the development of our players, which is great, and we have a lot of work to do. We know that, but it won't be from lack of effort, lack of preparation, and lack of commitment from myself, my staff, or the organization.
Now, you've said before that you see in each of your assistant coaches the potential to be a head coach one day. What piece of advice would you leave them with on that pursuit?
Well, Mark Ivaroni's already been a head coach, and he's been an assistant for a long time, so he has a grasp on it. Dean was a college coach for a little while, as a head coach in college, as a longtime assistant in college, so he has a grasp of it. But every situation is different. Every situation, it depends on the dynamic. Whether it's ownership, front office, a team at that time. So everything's different, but I think you have to have really what you believe in, how you want to play, and that sometimes is dictated maybe by your personnel. So like I said, it's hard to pinpoint. I think you have to have your philosophies about basketball and how you think the game should be played, but you also, I think, have to have the flexibility in today's game because you have so many younger players, have so many adjustments in terms of that to handle. I think you have to be flexible in some things as well.
And what about to the young people out there that are looking at you and say, when I grow up, I want to be a head coach? How about to them? What would you say?
Focus in on the process. Everything is easy to do until you have to do it yourself. So there's a life of work that goes behind getting to this point, and take advantage of the opportunities. I try to do that with all of the tremendous coaches I've had, being able to play a long time, being on really good teams with great Hall of Fame players. And so just trying to gather that information and make it, put it in an area where you can feel comfortable so you can sell that to your players. And that's the key thing. You can diagram a bunch of things, you can talk about a bunch of things, you can give speeches and lectures, but the bottom line is you have to have your team buy into what you're selling. You have to have your team play hopefully at a higher level than they even think they can. And if you do that throughout the year, it'll become a constant. You'll be more consistent with things, and that'll help you in the win-loss column. So, it's all about winning basketball games and putting your team in areas of strength. So focus in on the process. Don't always focus in on the final result. The final result usually takes care of itself if you do the work early.
Now, in your life, you've accomplished quite a bit, but what goals do you have for yourself now going forward?
Just to help this team win. That's what from a professional standpoint, you just want to see the development of the players, continually add pieces, and be consistent and improve and win basketball games. That's really the gist of it. I mean, in terms of the focal part of it, you can talk about a lot of different things, but it comes down to wins and losses, and we have to do a better job overall from top to bottom in terms of being more consistent. And if we can stay healthy and we can add some pieces and we can do some things, be creative in some areas, but also be very, consistent in our foundation, what we believe in, what I believe in terms of how we need to play, good things can happen.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem. Thanks.
With Clippers head coach Vinny Del Negro, I'm Madelyn Burke for LAC TV. For more on the Clippers, check out clippers.com, and for ticket information, call 866-4-CLIPPERS.